Joining me, Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson, BJP, Dr. Ajoy Kumar, Spokesperson, Congress, Sandeep Unithan, Senior Journalist, who's also with me, has been also tracking an operation that was conducted with great amount of stealth today, Sandeep, which resulted in the neutralization of 3 terrorists, and sources seem to suggest that at least one of them was the mastermind of the Pahalgam terror strike. Would you want to add more to that?
Absolutely, Preeti. And looking at the operation, the way it was conducted, it suggests that it was our special forces that did it. It seems like a clean surgical strike, judging by the pattern of the, the bullets that were fired, not too much of violence around the campsite. It suggests that somebody had laid a very careful ambush, and that's the terrorists walked right into that. These were specially trained terrorists as well, Preeti, and we can make out by the kind of trekking that they did. Our reporters there in Kashmir have told us about how this group of terrorists is supposed to have trekked all the way from Pahalgam. That's over 100 kilometers. They trekked along the ridge lines, specially trained guys, and this is classic guerrilla warfare, jungle warfare. They were trained for this mission, and of course we know how brutally they carried out that attack in Pahalgam, singling out civilians, shooting them literally point blank after ascertaining their religion. So this is a very unusual group of terrorists. It is not the regular kind of terrorists that we've been used to seeing in the valley. And these are what I call special mission terrorists, of the kind that the Pakistani deep state uses to strike against India, whether it's 26/11, the Parliament attacks, and in this case, the Pahalgam attack. Now this is a big thing now for the Indian investigators now to conclusively establish that one of them, Musa, who is the former SSG personnel who was involved in the Pahalgam massacre, if it was indeed him, and to gather the evidence that will make for a very cast iron case against Pakistan's complicity in the Pahalgam massacre, Preeti.
Sandeep, I'm going to ask you one question before we let you go, because of course there's the politics over it, and we're going to move to that, where you have the government who says it's incidental, it happened on the same day of the Operation Sindoor debate. You will also have then the opposition, which claims that it is not a coincidence that it happened on the same day.
Right.
But all of that aside, Sandeep, the fact is, what are the ways of ascertaining that? Because right now the information is source-based from the army that was to have a press conference at 5 p.m. That has been shifted.
Yes.
We don't know when we're going to get details of the operation. What we do know that the operation, the combing operation, is still going on. So it's still on. But how do we correlate with what our sources seem to suggest, that at least one of them has been the mastermind of the Pahalgam terror strike? Was it of the satellite phone, the Chinese satellite phone that was found on them? Is that the connect?
Well, absolutely, Preeti, and we'll have to wait for the formal briefing from the army. But what our sources have been telling us is that this particular group of terrorists was on their radar of the army for a couple of weeks now, and they've been tracked. And one of them seems to have given their position away by using their satellite phone. Now, our agencies have the wherewithal to track satellite phone signals. They may not be able to break the encryption, but they definitely know that there is a satellite phone that's active, and when that goes active in an area which is a dense jungle, then you clearly know that there is someone of interest in that region, and this is what seems to have happened with this case. Of course, it is now for the investigators, Preeti, now to take that satellite phone, to capture all of that evidence that's been found with these terrorists. One crucial evidence, Preeti, what we've been hearing is that the body cam footage. Now, these terrorists had body cams, they wore body cams when they carried out that massacre in Pahalgam, possibly for propaganda reasons. So if that body cam footage does indeed exist the way eyewitnesses told us, it would be very, very important for the investigators, the NIA investigators. Now the army has finished its job. It's now for the NIA to move in, take over this scene, and then establish the evidence linking possibly Pakistan to this heinous act. Preeti.
All right, Sandeep, appreciate you joining us. So we are still now, what we do know, what is official, is that they were high-value targets. On them was weaponry, which was clearly associated with commanders, Lashkar commanders, and with what Sandeep explained, high-value targets. They were terrorists, but our sources tell us at least one of them was the mastermind of the Pahalgam terror strike. Thank you, Sandeep, for joining us. Whether it was incidental or coincidental, all of that, of course, playing out in the parliament as well. You had the defense minister speak, and call it irony, call it incident, or call it coincident, that at the same point of time, you had the Chinar Court put out that social media message that this operation was being conducted very close to Srinagar, in the thicket and the forest there. But joining me, Dr. Ajay Kumar Ashutosh, author, political analyst. Sandeep Unithan is just going to leave us. And we also have Karan Mehra, who's also joining us. But I want to begin with Dr. Ajay Kumar first. Dr. Kumar, you just heard the External Affairs Minister point-by-point rebuttal, would you reckon, especially on the biggest point that has been raised by a party, which is foreign interference during Operation Sindoor and the ceasefire subsequently announced?
Look, see, some of the points which the minister made was that we have increased the budget 4 times. Now the question is what the budget was in 2013. Even the annual budget was 16 lakh crores. And now it has become 50 lakh crores. That's the part of normal development and budgets. Any department, if you look, Home Ministry, Health Ministry. So this is, whataboutery of the worst order, first question. Because the budgets increased. 2014, I was just checking the budget on 2013. Annual budget was 16 lakh crores and 2025 is 50 lakh crores. The other issue is, have you noticed that there is no mention of China at all? There is no mention of China. Everybody else, even I would have loved to hear what Mr. Unninathan had to say on China, because everybody else is saying that the Chinese gave information, the Chinese gave a specific location, and there was no discussion on that. As far as today's operations goes, I think it's a good job by the defense, and I still strongly believe that it won't be because there is a parliament session going on. I don't think it would be a coincidence. I'm quite sure of that. It cannot be any correlation. And I firmly believe that the army is professional.
So incidental, not coincidental then.
Incidental.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I correct. I mean, sorry, you got better English than me, Kriti, so I accept that. It's incidental. So the most important point is, what we've been saying continuously is, even today, Mr. Trump has said that I did the ceasefire. Right now, if you look at the chain of events, these guys are coming from Pakistan. They continue to come from Pakistan. And Mr. Rajnath Singh said that the Pakistanis begged us for ceasefire. Why did you listen to them then? If you continue to be held under the cloud of the Pakistani terrorists.
But Sanju Verma, I want to come to you. Your 2 minutes start now. The fact is, you can give out facts, you can give out information, but continue to constantly bring back and hark back to past incidents to humiliate a particular party and the opposition. Would you think that's correct?
Preeti, let me say one thing very categorically. Rajnath Singh today made a very interesting point when he said that Operation Sindoor में हमने प्रभु राम का धैर्य भी देखा और श्री कृष्ण का शौर्य भी देखा. हमने सुदर्शन चक्र का भी इस्तेमाल किया. Obviously, he was referring to the supersonic cruise missile BrahMos. What I find very upsetting is this. On the 25th of April 2025, barely within 3 days of that horrifying Pahalgam terror attack, we neutralized a man called Altaf Lalli of the Lashkar. Congress के मुंह में दही जम गया. On the 13th of May 2025, via Operation Keller, we eliminated the mastermind of the resistance front, which is an offshoot of Lashkar-e-Taiba, a man called Shahid Kutte. No appreciation for our army from Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi के मुंह में दही जम गया. Today, when Rajnath Singh said कि हमारी जो सेना है उसके लिए डेस्क पर थंपिंग करके let us salute them and congratulate them. And Rahul Gandhi, forget about thumping for a military. Did you see his body language? He was sitting like this. That lazy, lackadaisical attitude. And I think the fact that we've neutralized 3 terrorists today via Operation Mahadev, including Hasim Musa, the mastermind of the Pahalgam terror attack. Kudos to our armed forces and kudos to the leadership of the day under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But let me very quickly just say this to your audience. 11 Pakistan air bases were destroyed. Has Rahul Gandhi once commended the government or even the armed forces? Noor Khan, Rafiqi, Muri, Sukur, Sialkot, Pasrur, Chuniyan, Sargoda, Skaru, Bholari, Jacobabad में घर के अंदर घुस के
Ma'am, time is up. Your fader is going to go automatically down. I have no control over this, which I'm very glad. But, you know, we are giving out source-based information right now. So we don't have an official confirmation whether or not one of the 3 terrorists that was gunned down and neutralized today was, in fact, the Pahalgam mastermind. This is source-based information. We just want to put that out for our viewers. I want to bring in Ashutosh and I want to bring in Karan Verma as well. But Ashutosh, to begin with you, the fact is, one contention was, A, did we have our jets down, which you had Mr. Gaurav Gogoi speak of this afternoon, something that was addressed later as well. But the other contention was foreign intervention, on President Trump intervening. That, in fact, was answered by the External Affairs Minister, where he said categorically from April 22nd, then all the way down to the 16th, there was zero communication when it came down with the President or our Prime Minister.
See, Preeti, if you look at Operation Sindoor, it has added a very, very dangerous dimension to the whole terrorism issue. Because before Operation Sindoor, we knew that it is the Pakistan and it is the terrorist organizations, and which were operating against India and against India's interest. And they had every intent to damage India. But Operation Sindoor has clearly exposed the third dimension, that is the China. Now, it was China who was having a proxy war with India. And it is not me, not you, but it is the Deputy Army Chief Rahul Singh who has said one border, 2 enemies. Now, the issue is, if the China is involved, then why did Mr. Rajnath Singh did not mention about it? He should have mentioned about it. And he should have told to the whole parliament what is India's preparedness vis-a-vis China's entry into this terrorism act. Now, if you look at the GDP figures, surprisingly, in the last 18 years, since 2023, our GDP defense budget's contribution in the GDP, the percentage of GDP allocated to the defense has come down to less than 2%. And for some mysterious reasons, like in 2020, the percentage was 2.88. Now today it is 1.89. So when we are confronting China, and China is doing all kinds of hostile activities. He's not allowed to export the rare earth magnet. He is not allowed to export the specialized fertilizers. He has withdrawn engineers for the Foscom. And what we are doing? We are issuing visa to Chinese, which we stopped last 5 years. Suddenly we started. Okay. Now, what is the reason?
Fair point. I'll come back to you, sir. Your fader has gone down. But Karan Verma, there are questions that need to be raised, especially in the involvement of China. Yes, there is a diplomatic line and a tightrope walk that India needs to walk, especially where diplomacy with a neighbor like China is concerned. But sometimes national security is above that, wouldn't you reckon?
So, Preeti, as you rightly said, diplomacy is a tightrope walk. We've raised our voice against China time and again at the Quad Summit. At the same time, we do attend the SCO. Because we have to guard our interests. That's how diplomacy works. It doesn't work in binaries, as Congress puts it out in all these Narendra surrender narratives, or should the Prime Minister openly rebut Donald Trump. That's not how it works. We've slapped retaliatory tariffs against the US on steel and aluminium at WTO. So wherever we have to raise our voice, we do that. But it comes with a degree of polishness. That's how diplomacy works. It's like an iron fist in a velvet glove. But the disservice that the opposition has done, I mean, the fixation they have on how many jets have they lost, did they lose jets, how many Rafales did we lose? This is playing into the hands of Pakistan. You'll be surprised just today. Gaurav Gogoi's statement is being played across Pakistan television and they're rejoicing that. This is exactly what we didn't need to do. I mean, who cares how many jets we lost in the 1971 war, Preeti? Some say 75, some say 78, but we are not bothered. We achieved our objective. And that's exactly what this one is all about. We achieved our objective 20-0. 11 terror sites, 9 terror sites and 11 air bases. That is what our objective was. Our objective was setting a new deterrent. It was ushering in a new doctrine that a single act of adventurism, terrorism, anything by Pakistan is going to be treated as an act of war and we're going to retaliate. We started with the surgical strikes back in 2016, followed with Balakot, and now we've set a new deterrent. What did the Congress do after 26/11? Nothing. They were busy putting the blame on RSS, saying it's RSS ki sazish. They were busy signing Sharm el-Sheikh, where they pretty much monkey balance between Kashmir and Baluchistan. That's the disservice they've done. So we've come a long way from there, and that is what needs to be respected. And Operation Mahadev is an even bigger success. We have to put the perpetrators to justice, and that's what we did today. And in the month of Sawan, we've done that.
Your time is up. The larger question on why shouldn't we or the country know how many jets were down? Because I would think, people would want to know the sheer fact that when Kargil happened, all the casualties were not hidden. We have heroes from Kargil. We continue to salute and look up to till date. We don't really know what happened during Operation Sindoor. Who were our fallen men? Who were our heroes? Who do we celebrate? Do we really know that? It's a question I'll put forward to Sanju Verma as well. But Dr. Ajoy Kumar, there is meat in what both Karan and Sanju Verma say. Everything can't be put out in the open. You yourself know that there is a tight diplomatic walk, be it America or with China. One needs to deal with it on that front as well.
No, the problem with I can understand Sanju Verma, but with Mr. Karan, I have an issue. Speaking of Pakistan language, if you're a political analyst, then CDS is a Pakistani. The chief of defense staff went to Singapore and said, is he a Pakistan? Pakistan is running those TV channels. What kind of statements you make on TV, my friend? No, let me complete, sir. You say you're speaking in favor of BJP. I'm okay with that, Karan. I've got no issues. But, and I apply to, because in case of, not to flatter Ashutosh, but at least there's a balance in everything else. So you mean to say that the Air Force chief, Mr. Air Marshal Bharti was telling that losses happened, so Pakistan is running it on their TV, so he's a Pakistan press leader. So no, let me complete, sir. My question to you, first question is, our questions is to strengthen the nation. We are asking the government. Prime Minister came from Saudi Arabia and went to Madhubani. Did he go to Pahalgam? You say with so much of courage. Why hasn't the Prime Minister gone to Pahalgam? You tell me that it is not necessary for the Prime Minister to go to Pahalgam. And you know, one sec, and then you give this bombastic guske. I find it funny when politicians who have nothing to do with this, eating gulab jamun and giving bombastic ki ghar mein guske marenge. The guys who are doing ghar mein guske marenge, the defense people. So leave the ghar mein guske marenge dialogue first. Second is the Prime Minister rushes from. No, you please reply on this. The Prime Minister has never been to Pahalgam. Prime Minister is not in the Parliament today. You are talking about Sanju Verma is talking about Rahul Gandhi and his posture. What about the Prime Minister? He doesn't even respect the Parliament. His Defense Minister is speaking. His Foreign Minister is speaking. But Modi ji gave. And then you're saying, Bada bacha Modi, we have a new doctrine. The basic courtesy to the Parliament. Why isn't the Prime Minister there for the all-party meeting? And then you will tell me that the Prime Minister is showing a lot of response and a lot of respect. Third question. Everybody is saying about the Chinese hand. You don't want to mention diplomacy. What is diplomacy? What is...
Sir, I can't. I have no control, and I'm telling you, I love it that I have no control. I'll give it back to you for 2 minutes when your turn comes, and you'll get that 2 minutes. But Sanju Verma, I want to bring you in questions that were asked by Dr. Ajoy Kumar, pertinent questions there. I would reckon the Prime Minister of this country needs to give that much courtesy when you're discussing something as big as Operation Sindoor, which, as per the government, as per so many of us, is a big feather in our cap where it comes down to how we retaliated. Questions will be asked and should be asked. For example, how many Rafales were down? What happened during Operation Sindoor? And a question which many will continue to ask Sanju Verma, what happened? Like, do we even know who our fallen men was? Who are our heroes in Operation Sindoor? Did we have any casualty? Those are regular questions that regular people of this country want answers to.
You know, Preeti, with no offense to you, I find it rich when the opposition keeps slamming Prime Minister Modi for the longest time. We did not even celebrate the valor of our armed forces who laid their lives in the Kargil war. कारगिल दिवस मनाना शुरू किया मोदी सरकार के आने के बाद, इसलिए यहाँ बैठकर मोदी सरकार को सेना को कैसे रिस्पेक्ट किया जाता है वो सिखाने की भूल मत करना. And let me say one thing very clearly to you. Ashutosh spoke about defense budget. I always say you should not venture into territory of which you are clueless. The defense budget is 6.82 lakh crore. Add 50,000 crore of supplementary defense spending. It comes to 7.32 lakh crore. GDP at constant prices is 188 lakh crore, which means our defense budget as a percentage of real GDP at constant prices is 3.89% and not less than 2% like Ashutosh said. But I don't blame him. I don't think arithmetic is one of his strongest suits. Now let me say one thing to you. You know, I find it appalling when Gaurav Gogol says, POK ab nahi lenge to kab lenge? POK happened when under the incompetent and long nose of Nehru. Did Indira Gandhi take back POK? No. In 1974, she gave away Kachativu Islands to Sri Lanka. And let me tell you, in 1953, Nehru gave away Kaba Valley to Myanmar. He gave away Coco Islands in the North Andamans to Burma. In 1954, Nehru relinquished India's extraterritorial rights in Tibet, including our military outposts at Yatung and Jhansi. In 1960, thanks to incompetent Nehru, we signed the Indus Water Treaty, जिसको revoke किसने किया? मोदी सरकार ने. That is why we say मोदी है तो मुमकिन है, घर में घुसकर मारेंगे, इंदिरा गांधी की तरह घर में दुबक कर नहीं बैठेंगे, नेहरू की तरह घर.
Okay. Ma'am, time's up. Ashutosh, you wanted to come in for a rebuttal, but the point that was made earlier, you've been rebutted by Sanju Verma on the defense budget, on how it was this government that started celebrating Kargil Divas, number one. Number two, when it comes down to defense expenditure, look at what this government has done. It's a systematic way of dealing with terror. And now, for the first time, we have a post-terror ideology, at least, as laid down by the External Affairs Minister.
See, Preeti, I can understand the blind faith in the leadership, that's understandable. But ये कहना कि इंदिरा गांधी घर में घुसी हुई थी, have some respect for her. उसने पाकिस्तान के 2 टुकड़े करा दिए थे. और पाकिस्तान एक नहीं 2 हो गया था और घुटनों में बैठा हुआ था. आज की तरीके से नहीं कि जब सीज फायर हुआ तो पता चला कुछ हुआ ही नहीं वहां पे. Let's go to this. Last 17 years, since 2007, India has the lowest defense budget, 1.89. Last year it was 1.97. Last year 2.21, and the lowest in 2007 this was 2.34. That is Manmohan Singh government. You know what is the Aatmanirbhar manufacturing? You go to the army chief. He's saying हमारे यहाँ defense का जो manufacturing है कभी time पे होता ही नहीं है. On record. Air Marshal AP Singh, he's saying we need 40 squadrons. We barely have almost 20 squadrons. This is our defense preparedness. You know, this is our defense. This is shocking. Your defense budget is 1.89%, lowest in the last 17 years. And we are talking big. Then Modi hai to mumkin hai. Yes, Modi hai to mumkin hai. Itna defense budget to maine kabhi nahi socha tha. See, the issue is, here the group captain Shiv Kumar is openly saying कि political leadership ने हमारे हाथ पैर बांध दिए थे, इसलिए हमारे गिरे. इसका कोई जवाब सरकार की तरफ से नहीं आया. नेशनल सिक्योरिटी एडवाइजर is saying कि ये तो वेस्टर्न मीडिया में सब गलत खबरें चल रही हैं, कोई तस्वीर किसी के पास है ही नहीं, और कह रहे हैं ऐसा कुछ हुआ ही नहीं. That means your CDS is lying. That means your group captain is lying. That means deputy army chief is lying. That means AP Singh is lying. All of them are lying. These are top military leaders. So either the military leaders are right or the national security advisor and the prime minister is right. Both can't be right. The fact of the matter is, आप अपने नेता को blind faith करो, but इंदिरा गांधी का अपमान करने से बचो.
Sir, time's up. Karan Verma, number one, many would suggest that there is a course that politics takes and the polity takes. Do you reckon we've gone beyond the idioms of ghar mein ghus ke marenge? All of that we are beyond. There are questions that people ask. Nobody is questioning the validity or the success of Operation Sindoor. But like Dr. Ajoy Kumar pointed out, to whitewash anyone who raises questions as Pakistani, and some of the people that he named are people in high office today where the Indian military and armed forces is concerned. It's coming from them. It's really not coming from an anchor or an opposition leader or a political analyst.
So, Preeti, it never came unilaterally from them. They were asked those questions repeatedly. And that is precisely the narrative that we have to sidestep. It should not be about the losses, but it should be more about the momentous success that we've achieved. Pakistan and so many of our adversaries want it to be about our losses. That's where we need to gain perspective and understand. It's for the first time that a country has gone into another nuclear armed state and hammered them high and dry. That is what needs to be emphasized. When we start discussing the losses and are obsessed with it, I remember that interview of the CDS when he was asked again and again, but how many jets were down? How many jets were down? And he tried to sidestep it by saying that losses are a natural part of it. And of course, losses happen. But who cares about losses when we've achieved our objective? As I mentioned about 1971 war, for which Ajay Kumar, our friend from Congress, got so riled up. It's a part of any operation. Losses are going to happen. And my dear friend Ashutosh ji, just to give him some perspective on defense, sometimes a percentage of GDP is not a fairly accurate parameter. I'll give you an example. 65% of our defense used to be imported from outside before 2014. Today we manufacture 65% of it. Our export, defense export, has gone up 30 times, sir, in the last 10 years. That is a momentous jump. So, let's not be fixated again with one parameter. In fact, that Indian defense manufacturing is quite a story. It is probably the envy of the world at the moment, where we are exporting 30 times, and there are so many takers for it, be it in Southeast Asia and other places. So we have to gain perspective of all of that. I'm not saying don't question them. Question them for the intelligence failures. That's a valid question. But if you are trying to be obsessed with the losses, it's like a cricket match. A team has won the match and you are asking how many wickets were lost in that process. Of course, wickets are going to be lost, but who cares about it? When we've won the battle, and that to a historic World Cup we won in this case, by going inside a nuclear armed country.
Okay. Karan Verma, I just take that personally because I'm a daughter of a veteran who's fought 2 wars, and if a wicket is down, I want to know what the name of that wicket was because I want to celebrate him in time. So that's just that. That's my personal view. But having said that, I just want to quickly dip in Priyanka Gandhi speaking to the press, and we'll go back to our panelists in just 30 seconds. Listen into what Priyanka Gandhi said.
I think there are certain things he has not categorically said. So he has made some statements, but he is not categorically, for example, he has not categorically said that the US was not involved in the ceasefire. He has said Modi ji did not speak to Mr. Trump for a certain period, but he has not categorically said that the US was not involved. So that is interesting about it.
All right, so that's Priyanka Gandhi exiting Parliament, and Dr. Ajoy Kumar, want to reflect on that because the question that is raised by Priyanka Gandhi stems from this debate, that speech which was made by the External Affairs Minister, where he said that there was no conversation from the 22nd of April to the 16th of June between Prime Minister and the President of America.
First question is...
These are last 2 minutes, concluding, I'm just telling you that.
Prince, the Prime Minister is not picking up on the phone as if, he owes money to Trump or something. Why won't he pick up a phone and tell him that, look, what is he saying is wrong? The second issue is, this government keeps fooling people. You ban PUBG, you play cricket with Pakistan, and then you say, "Ghar mein ghus ke marenge." Then why did you stop? You were in an advantage. And correctly, like Gaurav Gogoi said, that we thought that because the government was telling the media, I'm sure, we thought by next day morning we would be in Karachi. The third point is, they are saying you're manufacturing bullets, missiles, etc. Agreed. But please listen to what the Chief of Air Staff said. That the HAL has not delivered a single light combat aircraft. Out of 42 squadrons, there are only 30 squadrons. Was there an intelligence failure? The question is, when you start believing your own myths, isn't the country unsafe? And last, the biggest disservice is to the armed forces. If any soldier died, was there a Paramveer Chakra to be given? Whether a Mahaveer Chakra to be given? Whether there was a Veer Chakra to be given, whether they were given the respect which every soldier who is given is, done the highest sacrifice. Should that be a secret? Extol your heroes. And who have they made heroes? Prime Minister Modi, Rajnath Singh. Guys who have nothing to do with it. So my question, they may be in political post, but my question is the actual heroes. Do we know their names? You correctly said. And it's an insult to the army also, and the defense forces and air forces for all those brave men who have contributed. Because you're not ready to accept the truth, you're sweeping everything under the carpet. We are saying the victory was a great victory. It was a good job by the defense forces. Nobody is denying it. It was a fantastic operation. But should we have stopped? I don't think so, Preeti. We should have proceeded on and shouldn't have listened to Pakistan. If Pakistan was begging, why did we listen to...
Okay. So, fader down. Last 2 minutes, concluding remarks, Sanju Verma. Time begins now.
Preeti, let me say one thing very categorically. 3.89% of our defense budget as a percentage of GDP is where it stands. If Ashutosh knows basic arithmetic, Preeti is Lady Gaga and Sanju Verma is Albert Einstein, but that is not the case. Now let me come to the moot point. The moot point is this. Jairam Ramesh put out a tweet a couple of weeks back where he said, we inducted the BrahMos in 2004 into the army. If you inducted BrahMos in 2004, then the Mumbai terror attack 26/11 happened in 2008. Tab aap kya? You were snoozing at the wheel? Today, BrahMos, our cruise supersonic missile, has delivered. Today, our kamikaze sky striker drones under the aegis of Aatmanirbhar Bharat have delivered. Today, Pinaka, our multi-barrel rocket launcher, delivered what it was supposed to do in Operation Sindoor. Today, the Akash surface-to-air missiles eliminated hundreds of Pakistani terror camps and terror launch pads and did what was supposed to be done. So be it BrahMos, be it our kamikaze sky striker drones, be it Pinaka, be it INS Vikrant, Aatmanirbhar Bharat, defense production indigenously, these are not things that Sanju Verma says, hawa mein baatein, ye ho raha hai. And he says, इंदिरा गांधी की तौहीन मत करिए. अरे मोदी सरकार को रोज बैठकर प्राइम टाइम पर गालियां दोगे. ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के लिए डोंट गिव क्रेडिट टू नरेंद्र मोदी, बट 1971 के लिए इंदिरा गांधी के लिए तालियां बजाओ. डोंट deride Nehru for the 1962 loss against China. क्यों भाई? नेहरू को डिराइड नहीं करना. इंदिरा गांधी could not get back 54 Indian POWs who were left to languish in Pakistan. She handed over 93 POWs post a lame duck Shimla agreement to Pakistan. But इंदिरा गांधी के लिए आशुतोष तालियां बजाएंगे और मोदी सरकार को ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के लिए एक बार.
All right. Sanju Verma, I don't know about you and Albert Einstein. I'll happily swap for Lady Gaga. But 2 minutes, closing comments. Ashutosh, go ahead.
नहीं, मैं तो ताली नहीं बजाऊंगा इंदिरा गांधी के लिए, क्योंकि अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी ने तालियां बजाई थी और अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी ने उनको दुर्गा कहा था. तो अगर बीजेपी के स्पोक्स पर्सन, इफ दे वांट टू इंसल्ट अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी, गो अहेड, दे आर फ्री टू डू दैट. I'm nobody to talk about it. The fact of the matter is, what is most important is, and why I keep hammering this. So the whole theater has changed in Indian defense with the entry of China. Either we are keeping quiet, doing nothing, or we are absolutely nowhere. The fact of the matter is, today we are dealing with an economy which is $19 trillion economy, and China can put money equal to our economy size in defense. That is what Chinese can do. Chinese today are a leader in the AI. Chinese today are leader in the battery. And these are the two things which is going to define the whole world in near future. But the fact of the matter is, I was surprised to see in Indian Express 21st July that we are forming a task force for the AI development. Imagine, China has mastered the art of air network domination using AI, sensor, machines, and internet. And today we are just entering into that era. And we are taking great pride. The 1.89% of the GDP is on defense. This should be not less than 7% if we are dealing with the China. And that is why I'm really worried about this. What the Chinese are doing. Chinese are putting restriction on the export of the rare earth magnet. Raju Bajaj is crying because the whole your electric vehicles is going for a toss. Then specialized fertilizer, and then 300 Oxford engineers. And what we are doing? हम चाइना को कह रहे आप लोग आइए हमारे घर में, हम आपको वीजा दे रहे हैं. Imagine the country whose enemy and hostile country, उसके लिए हम वीजा restriction खोल रहे हैं.
Final comments, Karan Verma, make your point, sir.
Sutosh ji, I think China has been a threat right from 1962 onwards. In fact, from 2010 to 13, we had a series of adventurism from China where A.K. Antony stood on the floor of the house and said the best strategy is not to build any border infrastructure. In fact, the Border Roads Organization has done a stellar job in building infrastructure across that. We are today seen as a China +1 factor from a manufacturing point of view. Of course, we have to be wary of China's threat, but what do? We have to do it diplomatically at Quad. We can't be having a head-on war with China if you want that. We can't be calling them out at every forum. We do it at the right forum, which is the Quad for that. And this entire obsession, call out Trump, call out China. I mean, the facade that everyone here has been wearing from the opposition, that we respect the armed forces. If you respect the armed forces, you would not peddle the Narendra surrender narrative. Rahul Gandhi saying, udhar se Trump ne phone kiya, idhar se Modi ji ne war rukwa di. That means you don't respect the DGMO who says that it was the Pakistani DGMO who had called up and wanted a ceasefire, wanted a halt in the operations. So you have to pick one side. It's a binary. Either the DGMO was right or this entire facade, this Rahul Gandhi narrative of Narendra surrender is right. And why are they so obsessed with Trump just as they are obsessed with how many jets are downed? Trump is someone who just recently said which foolish man has appointed this Fed chairman. Turns out it was Donald Trump himself 8 years back. This man said in 24 hours, we'll end the Israel-Palestine war. 48 hours, we'll end the Russia-Ukraine crisis. I mean, and suddenly these people have woken up to say, catch on to and cling on to every word that Trump is saying. Of course, he'll try to create a wedge. Of course, he needs Pakistan for Iran or whatever. Pakistan has been a use and throw nation. We are not. There's a reason why Trump is telling Tim Cook, you have to manufacture here, not in India. Today, India is a matter of envy, not a matter of curiosity as it used to be in the 90s and 2000s, and we need to accept that fact.
Okay.
Diplomacy works.
We've run out of time. That's the time. I appreciate all four of you for joining us. And I hope you guys join me tomorrow, because tomorrow a lot more speeches coming up where the debate on Operation Sindoor is concerned.